very strange. That will give the people in Heat 3 a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of encouragement. 2:12.59, 2:13.58 for Janssen, who was second, and 2:13.85 for Peliez, who was third.
Yes, those times will be confirmed in just a moment. Gary, Heat 5, Michelle goes. We're looking at, what, 2:10 and 2:12 for the two previous heats. That's 3 and 4.
Well, so far in the heats, we've seen nothing that Michelle should be frightened about. The thing that we have to remind ourselves about Michelle is that she has swam so many events already this week, and that she needs to make it into this final in cruise mode rather than having to show all her cards and go hard to make it. The 2:10.64 in the first heat is a good time, but if Michelle can hit around a 2:10 low in this heat, we're in business once again.
Here they come. Over to you, Jim.
Okay, Tom. Let's see how we get on here in the last of the 5 heats. I'll count them for you, make sure we've got 8 swimmers. Wonder have we got 8? Looks as if we do. I thought for a moment there we'd lost Barbara Franco in lane 7. And here in lane 1 is Loredine Sisu, who was 23rd in the shorter swim. Andrea Shorts, 19 years of age, from Canada, didn't go in the 100. Michelle Smith going through the same format as she always does, sits in her chair, just gets up very briefly for the announcement, sits back down again. Gold, gold, gold. Susan O'Neill, 5th in the 100 fly in lane 4. Li Min Liu was the silver medalist in the 100 meters butterfly. Annette Salmeen is only 21. Amy Van Dyken was the gold medal winner. She's not swimming here. Neither is Angel Martino, who was the bronze medalist. Pat Falsai, Min Prafal in Thailand, and for Spain, Barbara Franco in lane 7. Michelle's quickest is 2:11.60, which put her 7th in the world. That was what she did. Long course time. She actually did 2:11.60. Certainly qualified her well. Clean start, 4 lengths of the pool, Heat 5, women's 200-meter butterfly. How our expectations have changed. We now expect Michelle Smith to qualify for the final. Anybody else who qualified at any other occasion, we will be delighted. Now we'll be disappointed if she doesn't do very well. And in lane 3, she is beginning to cruise ahead. Just keep an eye on the times. Suzu is in 1, Schwartz in 2, and Schmidt is leading at the 50. 29.22. O'Neill is second. Third is Liu. 29.53 was the world record split time. We'll keep an eye on that. 29.22 for Michelle. Second is Susan O'Neill at the moment. Third in lane 2, dividing it between Schwartz, Liu and Salmeen at the moment. And just behind them is Franco in lane 7. Lanes 1 and 8, Sisu and Min Prafal have been dropped. Coming to the halfway stage of this heat of the 200 meters butterfly. At the 100, Michelle Smith is 1:01.77, outside world record time, but possibly close to Olympic time, 1:01.77. If she just keeps that performance going, she'll come back in 2:05 or so, but I probably won't. She still leads comfortably now. Susan O'Neill is staying in touch with her. 5th in the 100 meters butterfly. Wonder what stamina she has to do better over the 100 of the longer distance, the second 100. Michelle Smith leads, but in fact the lead has changed on the turn. 1:35.46, 1:35.49 for Michelle Smith. And Michelle not actually exerting too much pressure here, not going as fast as she might. We just have to assume that she knows that she's comfortable enough to go through. Susan O'Neill is thereabouts, and they're heading at the moment for 2:10 perhaps, thereabouts. There's nothing between them really, but Susan O'Neill is marginally in front. It's a great race for third. We'll just keep an eye on the times here. O'Neill touches first. Michelle Smith is 2:10.03, and the fastest time is 2:09.46 from Susan O'Neill. That'll please the Australian. A little psychological blow. In third place was Limin Liu. Fourth was Schwartz. Fifth was Franco. Sixth Salmin. Seventh Suzu, and eighth was Min Prafal. And as we look at the times, we see that Michelle Smith has set, believe it or not, another Irish record. Well, that would be terrific, and that's what most swimmers come here to do. We now expect more from Michelle Smith. First two under 2:11, and then the next three under 2:14. So the result is that Smith will swim in lane 5, O'Neill in 4, Thomas will be there as well, Koo will be there, De Glau, Haruna, Jackson and Liu. They are the first 8, and they are the 8th in the A final. O'Neill is the fastest qualifier. Smith in lane 5, Thomas in lane 3, Koo in lane 6, Del Glau in lane 2, Haruna in 7, Jackson in 1, and Limin Liu from China will be in lane 8. There's confirmation for you that Michelle Smith is through to the final of the women's 200 meters butterfly.
Thank you, Jim. In fact, she's the second fastest qualifier. Gary, it looked easiest of all the heats she swum this week, am I right?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Michelle just controlled that from the very, very start. The plan was just to get out ahead of O'Neill, make sure that she knew that O'Neill was going to make this final, and she just had to hold on to her. If you look at her split times, 29.2 down the first 50, and she was leading. Then she shifted back a gear to 32.5. The next 50, 33.7.
We'll go back and look at the race, Gary.
Okay, yeah. Well, watch this from the start. The little bit of anxiety, she comes up about 0.5 of a metre ahead of O'Neill to her left. Michelle is up the top of your picture now. You can just about see her. She's about 0.5 of a metre ahead still. And the main concern in this race is Susan O'Neill. Susan O'Neill is a specialist 200 butterfly. This is her best event. Now see, Michelle has taken it out nice and comfortably. She's breathing 1 every 2 strokes, which is the right way to swim a 200 fly. No breath into the turn, nice turn, and she's got O'Neill there from the very, very start. Now at this stage, what Michelle Smith will be thinking about is that she wants to get to the final, but she doesn't want to do too much to get there. She knows also that Susan O'Neill on her right-hand side is the world champion 200-metre butterflyer. There's no way she's not going to make the final. So all Michelle has to do is stay with Susan O'Neill, and she's going to make it. The good thing about Michelle is here, she's breathing 1 every 2 strokes, and she can see O'Neill out of her peripheral vision. She hits the 100-metre mark in 1:01.77, which is fantastically fast, especially considering Michelle's best 100 time is 60.3. So 1:01.7 is nice and comfortable. She looks so comfortable there. Now this is where she shifts down again to 3rd gear, and O'Neill starts to come back. This is where O'Neill says, well, I think I have Michelle Smith. And Michelle, again, like we've seen in so many of her previous heats, she starts to play around a little bit. Why should she go so fast and drag the rest of the women through into the final with her? Let O'Neill come through and then just tag on to Susan O'Neill. So O'Neill actually hits the 150-metre mark in first place. Michelle's third 50 there was 33.7 seconds. Her second 50 was 32.5. Tonight we'd expect the second 50 and the third 50 to be the same pace. So now they're neck and neck down the last length, and it really doesn't matter who touches first, because both these women are head and shoulders. As you can see, they're in a different class to the rest of the women in this heat. And Michelle's last 50, she even shifts down into 2nd gear and comes home in a 34.6. Now, it could be argued that she might be tired and tiring throughout the race, but she's not. Her stroke is nice and long, and she just swims into the final. Perfect.
So we're looking here, Gary, Susan O'Neill, Petrie Thomas, 2 Australians. We're looking at an Irish-Australian final, really.
We
apart
are.
From the Chinese girl, Kwon Yu.
I don't think the Chinese girl is going to go much faster. If we look at the form of all the Chinese women throughout the week, I don't want to discount her offhand, but I don't think she's going to go faster. If you look at Michelle Smith's time, I don't expect her to go out much faster than a 29.2. If she goes out in a 60.8 in the final,
okay,
and she's on for about a 2:07.
Okay, that's at 12:30 tonight, of course. We're just going to take a break now because we have Adrian O'Connor coming up later on, so join us in a few moments with myself.
Arūnas Savickas from Lithuania, 21, has done a 2:04.13, so he's the quickest here. From Mexico, Carlos Arena was 29th in the 100. Panagiotis Adamides from Greece was 36th in the 100. Doliarat Phuangthong from Thailand, 18 years of age. I hope there isn't a tight finish, otherwise I might get the names wrong here. Nicolas Krakčević from Chile. 41st of 50. Disappointed with his swim. 58.56 was his time. He'd done a 57.56, so this is the last day of the Swimming Olympics. This is Adrian O'Connor's last swim. The last of the Irish to go. He'll be enormously relieved and pleased that Michelle Smith is through to another final, but he has his own job to do here. So we'll be keeping an eye on him in lane 3, watching the splits as they go through. See here that there are, in fact, only 7 of them swimming because Alo Taibi in lane 2 hasn't shown. So it's Elizarov in lane 1 from Moldova. Adrian O'Connor already down a bit in lane 3. He's losing touch, has to come back in quickly. In lane 4, Savickas from Lithuania. In lane 5, from Mexico, Carlos Arena. He's leading them up the first 50. Then in lane 6, 7, 8, Adamides, Phuangthong and Krakčević. They're all together. And it is a Mexican, Arena, who's taking them through. O'Connor is 7th in 30:10. At the moment, 7th place of 7. So he's going to have to push on now. This is not a time to hang around. He's going to have to forget about all the nerves that are plaguing him, put aside all the things that he feels might be crowding in on top of him, and just go for it. Now he's caught up with Elizarov in lane 1, so there's not much in it as they turn at the halfway stage. Heat 2 of the men's 200 meters back crawl, and O'Connor still 7th in 1:02.66. The lead with Arena. And second place is Savickas. They've got the race between them. Third place at the moment in lane 7 is Doliarit Phuangthong from Thailand. In 8, we've got Krakčević from Chile. In 6, we've got Adamides. And then in lane 1, we've Elizarov. And then Adrian O'Connor, last of the 7. Savickas turns. It's Arena second. Third is Phuangthong. Now O'Connor's come back to be 6th. 1:35.43 his split time. We're looking at 2:04.73 his Irish record. He's not going to win the heat, that's for sure. He may be 6th. It's unlikely he'll be 5th. Savickas in lane 4 swum a very good second 100 and a very good race developing for second place now. As Arena tires and Savickas takes first place, he touches now. Phuangthong could get second, he does. Krakčević is 3rd. 4th is Arena. O'Connor is 6th. 2:08.90, and that is very disappointing. 2:04.73 his Irish record, which he set in April in Austria, and now he's almost, in fact he's more than 4 seconds outside that in this heat, and he was 6th of 7. So I think we'd have to say that that was a disappointing finish by Adrian O'Connor, and no new Irish record there. 6th of 7 with Alatobi not swimming at the end of the day. First Savickas, and second was Phuangthong, third Krakčević, Arena was 4th, Elizarov was 5th, then Adrian O'Connor. Final time 2:08.90, and that would conclude his Olympic events.
Thank you, Jim. Well, of course, we look forward to tonight. Roughly 12:15 we think that a final will be. It could clash with Sonia O'Sullivan running. We may have huge problems later on tonight. I suggest you get yourself 2 televisions. Gary O'Toole, look forward to tonight.
To the Michelle Smith final, I think that it's going to be, as you said before, Australia versus Ireland. No compromise rules this time. It's all flat out.
No stars and gripes.
I think tonight we'll see Michelle go out fast and try and hold on. Susan O'Neill, being an expert 200 flyer, will come back in the latter stages of the event, but I don't think she'll have the strength to catch
But this
her.
is an extraordinary situation she's in. 3 gold medals up. This is the last swim, out of the pool and home, to national acclaim forever, international acclaim. She just goes for it. Isn't that a great psychological state to be in?
Absolutely. I mean, Michelle Smith has absolutely nothing to lose. All the other women in this event tonight, none of them have won a gold medal so far. Michelle is the only one with a gold medal, and she has 3 of them. That gives her a tremendous psychological advantage going into the final. She already starts with a 1 second advantage by virtue of the fact that she is so psychologically keyed up, and she has this aura about her, this golden aura which other women might perceive to be invincible.
That was the 7th swim this week, and there was no sign of fatigue in there, was there?
Not even tired.
The word
But
not allowed to use.
I think if we didn't know her better, we would have been worried by the fact that she did slow down on the second 100 and let O'Neill take her. But we've learned.
But weren't her and O'Neill both slowing together?
Yeah, well, Michelle slowed down greater than O'Neill slowed down, let's say. And if we didn't know Michelle a little bit better, we might have been worried. If that was her first swim and we saw O'Neill do that to her, we would be worried that Michelle might not have it for tonight. But we know now that Michelle just wants to make the final as easily as possible.
She must be very happy. She's not asking us to spread rumours about her sore shoulder or her sore thighs or
Yet.
NBC having her out of the final as we had on Wednesday.
No. I believe she might be going for a small surgical procedure between now and then. Nothing serious, you know. It should be ready for tonight.
So we're very jolly about this, but really when you look at it, this is the most astonishing, potentially the most astonishing moment in the history of Irish sport.
Yeah.
Michelle Smith going for a 4th gold medal.
I think there's a danger of becoming flippant about her picking up these gold medals, and to get the impression that they hand out Olympic gold medals a dime a dozen. But it's not like that at all. I mean, Michelle Smith is just on top of the world performance-wise. There's nobody to touch her. She's just prepared for these Olympic Games. Sometimes you just find the right mix, and between herself and her husband Eric de Bruin, it's just, you know, the perfect alchemist has come forward for them, given them the perfect ingredients. They've mixed it up perfectly, and this is the result, and absolutely astounding.
So we're looking at somebody in the Olympic history beside Dawn Fraser, Debbie Maher, Shane Gould. I'm looking at all these great names in the past, Nancy Hogshead and Christine Otto. Christine Otto was the only other woman to win 4 individual gold medals. She was East German. It was before the fall of the wall. I'm saying this very delicately, and it was in 1988.
Well, there's no harm in stating the facts. Christine Otto was taking performance-enhancing drugs. She's admitted it herself. We have documented evidence.
And when the wall came down, they went into East Germany, had a look. They found the laboratories, didn't they?
Exactly. And these same East German coaches moved to China then. Once the wall fell, they still went to communist China.
For the weather.
Yeah, excellent food in China, and I think they missed people. They wanted more people, I think. But and you see the results. I mean, we have East Germans since the fall of the wall who now compete for unified Germany, who say that every morning they were given their vitamin tablets. If they didn't take their vitamin tablets, they weren't allowed to train.
Right. We're going back to the pool briefly where Jim Sherwin is talking.
Thanks very much, Tom. Yes, I've got Nick O'Hare with me. He was disappointed in his own swim, and I think he's disappointed too in Adrian O'Connor's performance. We're looking at Heat 3, by the way, of the men's 200-metre back crawl. There's nobody in lane 5, in case you think somebody there has drowned, and Strachaya in lane 6 is leading them through. Nick, tell us about your own performance as well. I know it was the 50, it was all over very quickly, but I have to say you seemed as if you weren't yourself.
Yeah, obviously I'm very disappointed with it. I kind of felt tired towards the end, which probably means I didn't rest enough. But, you know,
How can you feel tired, can I ask you, in a race which is only 25 seconds long?
Well, because you put so much into it, and the mental preparation goes into it as well. Like the last 15, 20 meters is when I usually make my move, and I usually have an extra gear to go into, and yesterday I just didn't. And it's the way it is. Obviously I'm disappointed, but I've got to look at the big picture. I'm only in this sport 5 years, so there's a hell of a lot more to come from me.
I see. And what did you learn from yesterday?
Just basically to get my preparation right and not to let the moment get to you, because it is quite daunting out there. And
I'm sure it is.
I wasn't overly nervous going in, but...
Did the false start affect you?
Not really, no. I tried to remain focused and what have you, but it just didn't click yesterday, and that's the way it goes.
Yes. What would have happened if Gary Hall hadn't clicked? What's the difference between you and him?
Well, Gary is just pure talent. Gary, they say, is more talented than Mark Spitz, so it doesn't really matter what type of training Gary does. It's all in his head. So
I certainly don't want to be unfair, because it is a marvellous thing to get into the Olympics, no matter what you're doing. But I just find that it's interesting that if Gary Hall hadn't performed on the day and hadn't got the medal, how would that have been?
It'll be difficult for him and difficult for his family, but it's the way Gary is. He doesn't really...
So you've got next time to look forward to.
Of
Adrian
course,
O'Connor?
Adrian, I'm sure, is going to be very disappointed.
Yeah.
I think he just went out a little bit too slow and then paid for it on the way back.
Couldn't work it out at all. That's very disappointing swim, all right. Nick O'Hare, thank you very much for being with us during the commentaries. And it's back to you, Tom.
Thank you, Jim. Gary O'Toole with me. Gary, we've done this to you 3 times. This is the 4th time we're going to do it to you. You've been right so far. Tonight you're forecasting what from Michelle Smith?
I think we're going to see Michelle again win her 4th gold. I can't see any other woman in the final lineup to touch her. She is a remarkable woman, and nobody is good enough to beat Michelle Smith.
Your predictions are so good, you've put the bookies of Ireland in despair.
I apologise, Paddy Power and all the other ones, I apologise. I didn't put any money on myself, so I'm raging.
Well, I got to say, Gary, it's our last time. It's been a lovely, wonderful pleasure having you here in the afternoons. Thank you very much. And as you know from the reaction of viewers, people have been immensely pleased and happy with your performance. So on behalf of us and the afternoon team, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks.
That's it. We're going to athletics after the break. Of course, it's day 1 of track and field in the Olympics. Join us then. Well, just to confirm, if you're coming in, Michelle Smith will be swimming in tonight's 200 metres butterfly final. She finished 2nd fastest in the 5 heats, and she'll be swimming in lane 5, and you can see that race live here on Olympic Channel sometime after midnight. We're not sure of the exact time. We're hoping in a little moment to go back to the pool to speak to her. But first, earlier on, we showed you the start of the 20-kilometre walk, the first track and field event of the Atlantic Games. Jimmy McDonald, who finished in Los Angeles and Seoul, was again representing Ireland. Let's see how the walk finished now with George Hamilton and Tony O'Donoghue.
Well, this is the leader, Jefferson Perez. He's approaching the Olympic Stadium. Pan American champion, heading for a medal for Ecuador, which will be one for the record books. He's opened up a gap, a sizable gap it is too. 6 years he's been competing internationally for Ecuador. 1992 World Junior Champion. He's only 22 years of age, and he's about to make his entrance to the Olympic Stadium. And there's the cheer. Jefferson Perez didn't finish in the event in Barcelona 4 years ago. But goodness gracious, what a performance by the man from Cuenca in Ecuador. And a gold medal for Jefferson Perez. The first track and field gold medal. 2nd place coming up for Ilya Markov. And the bronze about to cross the line now. Bernardo Segura of Mexico, the world record holder. 21:58. Rishat Shafikov, who led for so long, but run out of the medals, or walked out of the medals, at the conclusion of an intriguing 20-kilometer walk, and one that has delivered for Ecuador the priceless commodity, very first gold medal. And here comes Jimmy McDonald to complete the men's 20-kilometer walk, a 6th position in Barcelona 4 years ago, but a long, long way off that, sadly, way down the field, and a disappointing time for Jimmy McDonald. His personal best, 1:22:45, but this is going to be some way off that. Jimmy McDonald coming and finishing the 20-kilometer walk, and the time just coming up.